The heat is on. Hello everyone and welcome to the Norisring, the German Monaco as they say. We're excited to be here. It's the fourth race weekend of the season calendar, and this is exciting because it's the only street circuit in the calendar, and the man who aced the qualifying is Jack Aitken. So obviously, I mean, it's such a tricky track. It's always good to be in pole position. So what's the strategy? I mean, obviously you want to get this baby home. You want to win this.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we already had a couple of poles this season and it led to the win both times. I think today will be a bit more tricky because I felt really lucky to get the lap together in qualifying. But no, we will do our best. I really love the circuit. It's always a good challenge. To get close to the walls is a bit of a thrill, and yeah, the racing I'm sure will be fun as well.
And also you're getting married next week, so that would be a nice pre-wedding present to win this race.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't expecting us to do so well here, so I'm already in good spirits. It's a good start for the marriage, you know.
All right, crossing our fingers, and thank you so much. And now here are your commentators.
Thank you very much, Verena. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Norisring, the 40th anniversary of DTM racing. And what a way to celebrate it in the streets of Nuremberg. Well, it was under blue skies earlier. The cloud is starting to move in. The temperature is dropping slightly. It was nearly 30 degrees centigrade a few minutes ago. It's dropped to 29. We're not expecting any rain during this race, but never say never. Marco Wittmann, the local driver from just up the road in Fürth, has a massive fan club. They are very vocal. They are very green in the colours of Schaeffler. They line the terraces. There's a lot of people in here, expecting well over 100,000 people here at the Norisring for this, the first of two races this weekend at Germany's only street circuit for cars. So let's head back down to Verena for more news from the grid.
All right, and I'm here with Calvin van der Linde, standing in front of a red car. That's, of course, the car of your brother who's starting in P2. You'll be starting in P3. So it's going to be an exciting race, and maybe we'll see a little duel of the brothers.
Yeah, let's see. I was actually thinking of jumping in this car. It's got a better starting position, so I don't know. Maybe if my brother doesn't come back, I'll jump in. So let's see.
Maybe he won't notice.
Yeah, I don't think he'll know. Maybe he's on the toilet somewhere having a pre-race. I don't know what he does before the race, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it feels good today. Again, in the top 5, so I'm happy. Let's see if we can survive the first 20 minutes, and then we take it from there. I've said almost every race this year, it's going to rain probably at some point. I mean, the clouds are pulling in, so let's see.
It's also getting windier. And now, I mean, at this point, it's the 4th race weekend. It's all about the championship. You're leading the championship. So from here, you got to collect all those points.
Of course, but it's still, you know, it's not even halfway in the championship. So, I mean, I've had years where I've led the championship by 40 points after the half point in the championship and lost the championship. So I don't want to think about that too much. I want to think about being good in every race and having fun, because I've had so much fun this year. I enjoy being at the front, so I'm going to try and enjoy it a bit longer.
I hope so, and I hope you're going to ace this race. And now I'm, of course, really curious what your brother is doing, but we'll keep that a secret.
That's your job to find out.
And I will find out. Best of luck for the race, and now we're going to have a look if we see Sheldon anywhere. No, we don't. So how about back to the commentators, and I'm going to try to grab that man and find out what he's doing.
Thank you, Marina. I'm not entirely sure. We want to know what Sheldon van der Linde is up to at the moment. His brother looking enviously at the BMW on the front row. It was a spectacular qualifying session this morning, done in 2 parts. So the cars were split based on free practice times yesterday. We had 2 groups, and as we already said, it was Jack Aitken who earned that pole position, a 48.965. Sheldon van der Linde was the quickest of the previous group, Group A, that went first this morning, and he lines up alongside Jack Aitken on the grid. Kelvin van der Linde, well, he had a championship lead of 8 points coming into this weekend. That has now been reduced to 7 on account of that man there, Mirko Bortolotti, who lines up 3rd on the grid. And alongside Mirko Bortolotti, you might have just seen him on screen, Franck Pereira sitting in for Christian Engelhardt. Christian, who's had a knee operation after a winter injury, is watching on TV. We say get well soon, Christian. We'll look forward to seeing you at the Nürburgring. Kelvin van der Linde will be starting from 5th on the grid, the highest placed Audi. There is Kelvin van der Linde. Verena is back down on the grid. Has she found Sheldon yet?
And now we're here with René Rast, who will be starting in P7 in the race. I mean, you've done, I think, 2019. I think you were all the way last and you managed to win the race, so P7 should be easy.
Normally, Norisring was always a good track for me. I think the last 4 races I've been on the podium and never starting really once maybe on pole position, but all the other races I was starting 6th or 7th, so maybe it's a good omen. But anything can happen. I think the first couple of laps are important and obviously strategy as always. But yeah, let's see.
And what do you think about the atmosphere here? I mean, we've got, you know, beautiful weather. It's hot. What do you think?
It's very hot. It's almost 30 degrees, but the atmosphere at the Norisring is always great. I mean, we have so many fans around and it's so close to the guardrails and the people can come so close. It's always great to be here.
But it's also very challenging. It's a very unforgiving track.
It is, and in the race it's going to be very hot, especially for us in the car, for our left leg, for braking. I mean, we have probably 65, 70 laps, so we need to put a lot of laps with high brake pressure into the car. It will be very tough for us.
All right, well, thank you so much. And we're going to try to see if Sheldon, if we can still get a hold of him. I mean, I know that Sheldon really loves this racetrack as well, and it's going to be very interesting because it is indeed going to be the duel of the brothers. I mean, that's pretty interesting. You've got them in P2 and P3, so that is indeed going to be very exciting. And I see him, and of course, I'm going to nosily ask what he was doing, because obviously when you have a date, an appointment, and you want to get the interview of the man who's starting in P2, but let's not be too rude, but let's try to find out. Look, he's there under the umbrella. I can see him, so let's find out. Sheldon, we've been looking for you. Your brother,
you as well.
your brother had some assumption what you might be doing, but I'm not going to ask, but it's a good thing you're here on time.
What did he say I was doing? He's right.
All right, okay. Anyway, so starting from P2, obviously you're in good spirits. So what are you going to make out of this? I mean, obviously it's tough. It's unforgiving, but it's also a fantastic racetrack. So how are you going to do it?
Yeah, like you said, this track is very unforgiving. So we need to calculate the risk we take in turn 1. Jack is also a hard racer, so I know that he will not give me any inch in turn 1, even though he's very fair always. So yeah, I need to try and take a risk around the outside, try and see if I can get the lead. But if not, I'm just trying to play the long game and see what we can do with the pit stops, because I think we got some strong boys on the other side of the pit wall. So we're going to rely on that as well.
And hey, let's not forget your brother is right behind you as well. And he's certainly not going to say, hey, he's family. He's going to push hard as well.
No, I'm sure he wants to win just as much as I do today. It's a bit more difficult from P5, I think, for him. And he's leading the championship, so he's got a bit less risk to take, I believe. But that's up to him. Obviously, I wish him the best of luck, and hopefully we end up on the podium together. It would be great.
That would be nice to see, definitely. And also in regards to the weather, are we do you think anything's going to happen here? I mean, the wind's picking up a little bit, or?
No, I don't see the rain coming. It's definitely very hot at the moment, especially in black underwear. So.
Black underwear?
Yeah, so we see how that develops. But yeah, let's see.
Best of luck for the race. Thank you so much. And now we're getting excited here because we want the race to get started. So here are your commentators. Enjoy the race. Hold on tight. It's going to be super exciting.
Thank you, Verena. Always good to know what colour the underwear is in the sunshine here at the Norisring. It is a tough old circuit. Of course, Sheldon van der Linden knows how to win. He did it in this race this time last year in heat that was not too far away from what we are now. The track does claim its people. You can see, looking down from turn 1 there, it's a tricky old place to tame. You can see the tyre marks. That's not coming from a DTM park. The Drift brothers have been doing drifting around here. Last night, Kelvin van der Linde had a passenger ride in one of those. I think he might have been needing the toilet afterwards as well. There is Kelvin van der Linde giving us a greeting as we get ready for this race. It is getting towards the halfway point of the season. Races 7 and 8 this weekend, and then we are at the halfway point. Frank Pereira, who is sitting in for Christian Engelhardt, the super sub. We saw him subbing a couple of years ago for Rolf van Eiken here at the Norisring when Rolf van Eiken was unwell. Of course, last year, Frank did a full season in the DTM. This year, he will be delighted to be back here in the streets of the Norisring. This is a circuit that Jack Aitken describes as where wing mirrors go to die and track rods cower in fear. He couldn't have put it better. We're ready for the Norisring. Welcome along to the streets of Nuremberg. It is the Norisring under skies that are slowly getting cloudier and cloudier. Is the rain gonna come? There is a massive crowd of people here packing the grandstands here, the concrete Stein Tribune here on the streets of Nuremberg, always providing spectacular racing. This is a circuit like no other. It's a circuit that we have been visiting for many years, 40 years of DTM here. The circuit is 2.162 kilometers around with 5 turns, 4 to the left and 1 to the right. The scene of much controversy over the years, none more so than Michael Schumacher and Alfred Hager. Back in 1991, they got together into turn 1.
I would take Alfred Hager, and I was in front of him in the Brems area.
It's the second time now that Schumacher makes some big mistakes during the first start.
I feel somebody pushed me in the back. My car is a little bit sliding.
It was in that race that the defending champion Hans Stuck, the Formula 1 pilot, kept out of trouble, entertained the crowds and brought it home in first place in the Audi V8 Quattro. The place went into meltdown for Hans Stuck.
The gearbox is finished everything to the end, but right in time, you know.
The other race on that particular weekend, the race 1, went to one Mr. Kurt Tim. You might recognize that surname. His son, fresh from winning the Spa 24-hour race last weekend, is here, has been looking very competitive all weekend. Let's take a look at the grid. It is Jack Aitken and Sheldon van der Linde on the front row. Mirko Bortolotti, Frank Pereira and all Lamborghini. Then Calvin van der Linde, Mauro Engel, Rene Rast and Arjun Maini. Lucas Auer and Marco Wittmann, the local hero, rounding out the top 10 ahead of Lucas Stoltz and Ricardo Feller. A bit of work to do from there. So also Thomas Prine, defending champion, with Nicky Tim for company. Luca Exler, Thierry Vermeulen, we're looking enviously at his teammate. Einchad Guin and Max Paul with the 2 McLarens bringing up the rear. Ben Durr and Clemens Schmid. Ben Durr, who was not able to take part in FP2 due to some mechanical issues, but pleased to see he made it to qualifying this morning. He's out-qualified his teammate. You can see the grid is clearing. We are getting ready to go for race 7 of a 16-race season. My name is Brian Oliver. Chris Hartley is on other duties this weekend, something Formula 1 related, I believe, in the UK. So, special guest for this weekend. Welcome, Adam Weller. Good to have you here, Adam.
Thank you so much, Brian. We're awash with special guests on this weekend. Hans-Joachim Stuck, we just saw him in that 1991 throwback. He is on the grid. He was signing some autographs. Bernd Schneider was on the grid earlier on. He was reunited with his 2001 Mercedes CLK. The stars are out to celebrate 40 years of DTM and, of course, 81 years of the Norisring Speed Weekend as well. This place is one of the most significant parts of German motorsport. They call it the German Monaco. It's definitely part of the German Triple Crown, no?
It really is. Every driver wants to race here. Every driver wants to win here. What a wonderful place to celebrate the birthday of DTM. Jack Aitken starting in pole position. He's the only driver to have won more than one race this season. He's won 2, one at Oschersleben and the other at Zandvoort. He's also the only driver to have started on pole position more than once. This is his 3rd pole position of the season. He's had 3 non-finishes, so he really needs a point score out of this race and he will be straight back in to the championship hunt. We have celebrities right, left and centre here this weekend. The instruction is given to start your engines at this circuit. Well, if you love oval racing, this is about as close as you're ever going to get to one in DTM. It's effectively 2 hairpins joined together by 2 mega long straights. But one of the straights has a chicane halfway down the middle, the Scholler S. We have the Grundig turn 1, the scene of much controversy. Ask Rene Rast and Thomas Priding about that one from last year. The scene where overtakes are attempted, dive bombs are attempted, but it can all go wrong. I have to tell you, the concrete walls do not move. They do extract wing mirrors, though. The field now ready to start what will be the first of 2 formation laps.
Yeah, critical now to get heat into those tyres. You want grip on the first lap. It's easy to bleed positions going into turn one, especially if you're not confident enough to brake as late as possible. Jack Aitken was keen to get rolling. He was quicker than the Cooper off the line as they go out now on the formation lap. The 6, 8 and 10 cylindered machines head out onto the circuit, and they will create a wall of noise for everybody there on the grandstand, on that fabulous tribune in about 2.5 minutes.
And we cannot wait. It's going to be exciting. Kelvin van der Linde, a championship leader by 7 points. He's down in 5th place. He finished 3rd in qualifying this morning in his group. That means he's on the 3rd row. So he's got a bit of work to do from there. Ahead of him will be Franck Pereira. The Lamborghinis have been looking very dialed in, as indeed has been the BMW, but none more so than the pole-sitting Ferrari of Jack Aitken. So getting to work. You can see from your graphic the DTM very much thinking of sustainability. There are no plastic bottles here. The fuel is 50% renewable components. The ADAC and DTM doing a wonderful job, very much in partnership with BWT, who have a big presence here in all the rounds of the DTM, doing wonderful things for the climate to promote sustainability in every way possible. So the formation lap number 1 has been done. I'm wondering how long some of these cameras are going to last against the wall. We saw several wing mirrors going south during qualifying and free practice already during this event. We now have an hour of racing, 60 minutes plus 1 lap with a mandatory pit stop. The pit window will open 20 minutes into the race, will remain open for 20 minutes and then will close. During that window, every car will be required to come in for a mandatory stop and also tyre change. There is no minimum pit stop times. This is performance pit stops. Races so often won or lost in the pits. This is very much a team sport. So the safety car now bringing the cars back to a slow pace, gridding up side by side. It's Ferrari versus BMW versus 2 Lamborghinis. That is the first 2 rows of the grid. The drivers now, the heartbeats will be racing as they head up towards the Duitsendijk turn 4. Then it'll be out towards turn 5. It's a kink in the track that is taken absolutely flat out, but not on this occasion. The drivers now waiting. The clock is running because we're on the 2nd formation lap. Jack Aitken just a little bit ahead. Sheldon van der Linde will pull forwards. Who can tame the Norisring? We're about to find out. We are go! And it is Jack Aitken who has a good start into turn 1. Sheldon van der Linde dropping back now. Is he going to come on the outside? Look at Mauro Engel on the wide outside. Jack Aitken has the line into turn 1. Sheldon van der Linde under pressure. Mirko Bortolotti, Mauro Engel going wide into the corner as well. The cars somehow all make it around the Grundig turn, out along towards the Scholar S chicane. Looks like we've all got away cleanly to start off with, but Jack Aitken doing exactly what he needs to do. Kelvin van der Linde taking inspiration from the drifting that he saw yesterday around the Scholar S, but that isn't the quick way around because Mauro Engel having a little look up the inside. Jack Aitken around to Duitsendijk, turn 4. There is Mauro Engel from the perspective of Kelvin van der Linde. The opening lap of the race, a great opportunity to make up places, a great opportunity to throw it all away. Mauro Engel getting a push from Rene Rast as he tries to get past Kelvin van der Linde. The 2 cars go sailing by. Kelvin van der Linde not able to defend into turn 1, relegated 2 places in 1 corner.
Bump, draft and grind there in that battle. We had Lucas Auer dropping down the field on the first lap. He got into the rear of Rene Rast as they all compacted into the first corner. There was a little bit of contact there, a little bit more contact in the mid-pack, and there is Lucas Auer in with what I believe is a right rear puncture.
Oh, so this won't count as his mandatory pit stop. The team will come in, they change that right rear tyre. That is a disaster for the number 22 car. The yellow Mamba rejoins, but it's Jack Aitken, 0.3 of a second last time around. He crosses the line, breaking clear. Sheldon van der Linde up to just over half a second. Mirko Bortolotti loitering in the background. They come up to lap the number 22 car. Lucas House started 9th on the grid, but suddenly feels like it's going to be a long 56 minutes ahead of him. The rest of the cars coming fighting through. There is Jack Aitken. The races that he's won, both of them this year, have both been from pole position. He wants to make it a hat-trick. He's got a long way to go. This is not just about beating the other cars. It's about keeping it together, keeping it out of the wall, and bringing it home.
Among the losers then on the first lap of the race, Frank Pereira down to 7th position. Of course, he was on row 2 of the grid. Under fire there, that was Nicky Thiem going up the inside of Luca Engstler at turn 4. So that would be a move on for 13th position. Nicky Thiem looking to perhaps emulate his father, a double winner here at the Norisring in DTM. It does look like Pereira, under race conditions early on, under pressure, because now behind him, he's got all manner of drivers, including Ricardo Feller.
You really don't want to be seeing Ricardo Feller filling your mirrors. Now, Thomas Priding, he's up into 10th place, so he's made 3 places, having another look at the start. Always a great relief if we can get the cars around the first corner cleanly. Mauro Engel, well, he went for the middle, then decided that wasn't going to work. Then out to the outside, there was a fair bit of debris that did go flying. I wonder if that is what caught out Lucas Auer. There was a little bit of contact there. Cars getting together through the corner. Mirko Bortolotti on team radio.
He hit me really, really hard on the right rear. I think it was a Mercedes.
Possibly the Mercedes of Mauro Engel, but a Mercedes into the back of Mirko Bortolotti, and you saw the bodywork going. That was a replay, and it makes you jump when you see it from on board, I can imagine. Into the pits, and that's Ben Durr. He's had a bit of a nightmare. He's the driver who's making his debut at the Norisring. Looks like it's an early bath for the Durr Motorsport McLaren. He wasn't able to take a part in FP2. He's been learning a steep learning curve here, the car into retirement. That's a real shame for Ben Durr. So clearly the issues that he's had have not gone away. It's Jack Aitken who leads the way, 0.4 of a second. He's not exactly leaving Sheldon van der Linde in his wake, is he? So Sheldon van der Linde very much in contact. Then it's Mirko Bortolotti, but keep an eye on Mauro Engel. He was the quickest in the free practice sessions on Friday. Rene Rast as well. He knows his way around here, a former winner here at the Norisring, the 3-time champion just behind Mauro Engel. You get the feeling that Bortolotti, Engel and Rast is where it's all going to kick off.
Rast kind of, the Cliff Notes version of his interview with Verena earlier on was, well, here I'm a racer, not a qualifier. I seem to be good at the overtaking, not so much the one lap. As you said, he won in 2019, the first race of the weekend. Back then, he has won a race in all of his full season DTM campaigns. He made his DTM debut, of course, subbing in for Matthias Ekstrom, and he did so well that Audi called him back and said, do you fancy giving this a full-time go? And now, of course, he's a 3-time champion, and he's bearing another manufacturer's badge. Rast always one to watch, and he's there in the top 5, tailing the top 5, and it does seem that those front 5 are breaking away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, and he got his first podium of the year last time out at Zandvoort, a 2nd place in race 1 of the weekend. There are some big names that are caught up in the traffic at the moment. Thomas Priding in 10th place, looking to keep his run of 22 consecutive points finishes going and to make it 23. He's the only driver that has that record. There is Marco Wittmann, Mega Marco, the local hero with the Vocal fan club, but he is currently stuck in 12th place, and the overtaking so challenging. If he tries to make a move on Lucas Stoltz, who's ahead of him, Nicky Thiem will be ready to pounce. Nicky Thiem, who has been towards the top of the timing sheets in most of the sessions so far during this event.
Jack Aitken dropping down the graphics, scaring me a little bit. I think the graphics and the timing aren't quite on the same
Don't
deal.
panic, don't panic. Maybe
Transponder being a little bit temperamental, briefly putting my heart down in my legs somewhere. Aitken still leading the way. Meanwhile, Thierry Vermeulen, of course, in the other Emil Frey Ferrari, hot on the heels now of Luca Engstler. I think after that 4th place finish at the Zandvoort circuit, Vermeulen feels good, but Max Powell feels like he's got an opportunity.
Look at the back end hanging out. as Thierry Vermeulen scoots around turn 4, and Max Powell, ever the opportunist, takes up that position in 15th place. So Max Powell moving forward. There's certainly a bit of pace in that Lamborghini. Aychen Guin in there as well. So it is the 69 car. Thierry Vermeulen trying to come back around the outside. He's going to, good luck with that one, mate, because all he's done is open the gap to allow Aychen Guin to run alongside him. The two cars running side by side in towards the chicane. Vermeulen has the faster line on the inside, but the inside will soon become the outside, and he gets hung out to dry. Aychen Guin also stealing a place away.
And that's the thing, isn't it? You can lose one position, then quickly lose a second. You can try and gain position and then lose 3. Unfortunately, Lucas Auer, with the contact he made on the first lap, we didn't really see a replay of that, but sufficient that they've decided to call it a day.
Yeah, and we certainly saw the debris, though, didn't we? And get the feeling that is probably what put pay to it. And when you're more than a lap down, you're going to struggle to get it back. Look at Thierry Vermeulen. He's frustrated that he got caught by Aychen Guin. The two cars running side by side, running around the streets. You get the feeling that Thierry Vermeulen may have heard a few tips from his mentor, Max Verstappen, who we know watches him. Of course, Thierry Vermeulen's father, Raymond, is the manager of Max Verstappen. And there's a lot of information that changes hands in terms of racing skills. And around the streets, Thierry Vermeulen learning how to hustle that Ferrari. But at the moment, advantage Aychen Guin. Max Powell has broken clear of these two. Ahead of him, Luca Engsler. Good to see car 19 in the points. Here is our race leader, though, Jack Aitken, 0.8 of a second clear. Sheldon van der Linde, Mirko Bortolotti in 3rd. Then we have Mauro Engel in 4th, René Rast in 5th, and championship leader Kelvin van der Linde in 6th place. So he has lost a position since the start of this race.
When the race began, there were 5 different manufacturers in the top 6. That's still the case now on this stage of the race. Just over 10 minutes completed, and it's Ferrari for Jack Aitken, from BMW, from Sheldon van der Linde. That, of course, the Schubert entry. Mirko Bortolotti in the SSR. Oh, team radio for Luke Stolz.
Just to let you know, there might be some rain in the pit stop window. There might be some rain in the pit stop window. So at the moment, I'm looking at staying out for a little bit longer.
Wow. Well, I'm looking out the window of the commentary box, and we've got blue skies up above. There certainly wasn't rain forecast for later on today, so clearly the teams have information that I don't have. That would really throw the proverbial cat amongst the pigeons if the rain were to come out, particularly during the pit window. So Jack Aitken at the moment looks to have things very much under control. He's broken clear a little, 2nd there, 3rd coming around the corner, then 4th and 5th. Bit of a gap back to Kelvin van der Linde, just falling back from the BMW a little. Frank Pereira there as well, Ricardo Feller, Argentini, defending champion Thomas Preining in the points, but in 10th place. So cars heading out along the pit straight in towards turn 1. The air temperature still up at 29.1 degrees centigrade, so the temperature hasn't dropped. Out of turn 1, they approach that at about 245 kilometers an hour in 6th gear. Kelvin van der Linde on team radio to AB Sportsline.
Oh, it's so shit to drive. I have so much oversteer. I'm about to spin every fucking corner.
Once again, I think a euro in the swear box there. Apologies for any fruity language. You understand the frustration from Kelvin van der Linde. Right, let's go down to Verena, who's got some information down in the pits.
I'm here with Lucas Auer. Luca, we saw that you had a flat tire, but you went out again. Why did the race end now after all?
So I had a good start, but then somebody touched my left rear or my right rear tire, and I had a flat tire. Then we pitted, but we had too much damage on the rear.
So nothing you could do. That's why safety first. That's why the race ended.
Yeah, the car was over, and I couldn't continue.
Thank you very much, Lucas. Back to you.
Thank you, Verena. So 4th place continues to be Lugi's best score of this season. Adam, you've noticed something on the timing screens.
Yes, just about 2 laps ago, we saw Max Powell just looking to the inside of Luca Engsler as we cut away from the shot at turn 4. He did get it done. Max Powell is up into 14th position, so he's on his way up the order. Just ahead of him, another maybe slightly frustrated Lamborghini. Nicky Thiem looks like he's got the race pace there in 13th place, just behind Marco Wittmann. but not quite able to get close enough to the imposing BMW as of yet.
So we are just under 6.5 minutes away from the pit window opening. With the threat of rain in the air, we may see drivers staying out quite late in the pit window. Right, back down to Marina in the pits.
And now I've got Ben Durr here, and the race ended for you. Why exactly? What happened?
Yeah, I was smelling kind of fuel in the car, so smelled a bit of fuel. So for safety reason, we stopped the car. It's not good when the car is smelling like fuel in the car, so for safety reason we stopped the car, and yeah, I think it was the best solution.
And do you have any assumptions yet? What did the mechanics say? Any idea what it was?
For now I know nothing, but they said yeah, it's good that we stopped. So.
Hopefully tomorrow everything will be fine. Thank you so much, Ben. Back to you.
Yeah, with you on that one, Ben. You really don't want to be driving around with the smell of fuel around. Right, you can see the rain over downtown Nuremberg. You just saw it coming out of the cloud. Not here at the moment, but the drivers, as I mentioned before we went down to the pits, may want to leave it late in the window. What you want to do is perform your pit stop if there's going to need to be a change of compound of tyre, well, a change of construction of tyre, i.e. a rain tyre rather than a dry one. You'll want to do it as part of your mandatory stop and not have to come in twice, because lose a lap on this circuit, you ain't ever going to get it back, certainly not without any high drama. Jack Aitken at the moment, Sheldon van der Linden, they've broken clear. We're looking back from Mirko Bortolotti. Some great camera angles all around. Right, this is athleticism at its best. The gladiators are fighting out in the arena. Soon, we're going to get the teams involved as well. I tried to do a pit stop on one of these cars last year. I have to tell you, you have to be pretty fit. These drivers, these team members, they work incredibly hard. They train, they're limbering up, getting warmed up, because races can be won and lost in the pits. It's really good to see. We're doing it in the commentary box as well, just to in sympathy. That's the SSR performance team getting up to temperature. They've got another 4 minutes and 20 seconds before the pit window opens. They need to be ready to jump when the driver comes into the pit lane.
Now, I think it's going to be a very rearward pit window. Everyone's going to stay out there until the last 2 or 3 minutes thinking, well, if the rain comes, as you said, we want it to be done. That change to wet tyres during the mandatory pit stop window. So I'm expecting it's going to be quite lonely under the pit awnings at the beginning of this window. Everyone's going to hold off and see what those clouds get up to.
Lucas Stoltz in 11th place, putting the pressure onto Thomas Preining. 0.3 of a second last time across the line. Right, team radio again, here's Clemens Schmidt.
Okay, Clemens, a weather update, expecting heavy rain in 10 to 15 minutes.
Wow.
Heavy rain in 10 to 15 minutes. It will be within pit stop window.
Copy that, copy that.
Gosh, I mean, I've just poked my head out the box. It's still blue skies up above, but clearly there's something on the horizon coming in. We're on board with our Germania replay here, going into turn 1, and that was the AB Sportsline car of Ricardo Feller going deep into the corner. You get a feeling that both of the Audis struggling a little bit here with handling issues. There's first, second, third, fourth, fifth. That's Rene Rast in fifth, then Kelvin van der Linde. But I would imagine that Kelvin van der Linde, well, I spoke to him on Thursday. I said, how do you feel about it if it rains? He said, I'd rather not. I think his opinion might have changed on that slightly, because if he has got issues with the car, when rain tends to be a bit of a leveler, particularly when you've got to ride those concrete pavements that you see on the side of the picture. That is a paving slab. The drivers go up the curb, up against the wall, and then back onto the tarmac. I tried to run it and I almost tripped over. I do not know how the drivers do this at these kind of speeds.
You have to be sure-footed both on foot and on track around this place. The Norisring, a challenge that is very rarely to be compared to any other. Still seeing Nicky Tim just trying to look at a way past Marco Wittmann, a good few car lengths back. He just keeps tucking away, like looking almost to the inside a little bit to say, come on, I really want to have a go, but he's just been too far back all race long. In fact, he's staying out of the slipstream quite a lot, to the point where I wonder if maybe there's some overheating or something. Yeah. Wet race has just been declared.
I just popped up on our timing screen. It says wet race. Now, normally, they don't get the wet race signal until the wet stuff actually starts falling. But clearly, the race control have some information that is pretty significant. It means that drivers can now, if they choose, go onto wet tyres. It would be a brave man who does it when the pit window opens with the track this dry. But if they did decide to pit early onto wet tyres, they would be allowed to because the wet race has been declared. First and second have broken clear. Jack Aitken, Sheldon van der Linde, about half a second between them, well, 4/10 to be precise. But then a gap of 1.7 seconds back to Mirko Bortolotti. So the lead is just breaking away. Lucas Stoltz is on team radio.
Fellow cannot go to pace. Let's try to attack Brining now.
And Thomas Preining looking maybe a little vulnerable. The memories of winning here in race 2 last year will be in the back of his mind. That will feel like a long way away as he's defending 10th place. Lucas Stoltz and Marco Wittmann, the local driver, just there as well. Nicky Tim behind him, but back to the leaders at the front. It's Jack Aitken. Sheldon van der Linde has closed in 0.3 of a second, well, just under 0.4, but Sheldon van der Linde now putting the pressure on. Jack Aitken said this is going to be more of a challenge than winning from pole position anywhere else. Not only is he fighting the other drivers, let's have a listen to Thomas Preining for the Manthey EMA team.
Okay, Tommy, watch out. Stoltz is advised to attack. Stoltz is advised to attack.
Love it.
You'll never guess what we just heard on television, Thomas.
You get the feeling they're all monitoring each other anyway. It's wonderful, this is. Right, first and second. What is Sheldon van der Linde going to do? Now, he might just be getting as close as he can as the pit window opens. Oh, right, well, hold that up to the screen, please, because that's not the same as what my phone is saying. So clearly some information. Sheldon van der Linde has a little look into turn 1. I don't think that was ever going to be an attempt, but that is saying to Jack Aitken, hello, I'm here, and I'm ready to jump if you so much as make a teeny mistake. I was about to say, poor team radio, the drivers not only fighting each other, fighting the cars, but also trying to tame this track, which bites you on the backside if you get it wrong.
Thomas Preining's memories of winning here on the Sunday a year ago are feeling a little bit distant, as you said, down in 10th place. Sheldon van der Linde, the Saturday winner a year ago. It feels a lot more vivid for him. He's got a target in front of him in the form of Jack Aitken there in second position, and clearly the confidence is with him. Kelvin van der Linde really will be wishing they swapped cars on the grid.
He really will. Jack Aitken came into this weekend with very low expectations. They were a long way off the pace. This time last year in that Ferrari were nowhere near points. This year, he was surprised himself by how well he did. Kelvin van der Linde now on team radio as well.
There should be no rain, maybe at the very, very end of the race, but it's at the moment not.
Well, differing stories, I think we'll find. So some reckon heavy rain, some say no rain. Keep them guessing. As we predicted, nobody has jumped into the pitch yet. I'm wondering, with that information, whether Abt Sportsline might be ready to pick Kelvin van der Linde now, get him in, try and get him out on some open track, and try and do a bit of an undercut on some of the cars around him. Sheldon van der Linde, now more of a challenge inside of Jack Aitken. Still nothing that was gonna stick, but filling the mirrors, trying to pressure the driver from Great Britain into making a mistake. Sheldon van der Linde, you've got to get up pretty early in the morning to put one over Jack Aitken. So he's holding on to it at the moment. But Sheldon van der Linde, you sense a bit of impatience. That mighty BMW, the big red, yellow and white machine, will be filling the mirrors of that Ferrari.
You just get the impression that the BMW is a little bit more compliant under heavy deceleration, on the fact that van der Linde just keeps closing in, keeps looking more confident on the approach to that turn 1 apex. And Aitken will be feeling the pressure in this one. He'll be wishing he could pit for clean air. He's got clean air. He wants a clean set of wing mirrors. He's not getting that.
Thomas Preining, the first to blink into the pits, comes the defending champion. He was caught up in the traffic. I think that's great strategy from the crew. They need to try and hopefully get him out in some clear air where he can put in some lap times. Not a lot of that to be found around a circuit that is only 2.1 kilometers around, but hey, we'll give it a go. Crew set to work. always has to be the rear wheels first, and then the front wheels. Being very, very careful, heavily regulated stop. Look at all that brake dust. This track is not too hard on the tyres, but it's very hard on the brakes. A good pit stop from the crew and out onto the track. Now let's have a look here. I saw a wheel nut going rolling. Yes, there was one that disappeared off the picture. Now that is under investigation, and I think the rolling wheel nut might be considered to be an infringement of the pit stop regulations. Thomas Preining, well, if he can reach his head without the helmet, he'd be clutching his forehead, because we have seen more than one race that has been won or indeed lost because of pit stops, and many of them involving Thomas Preining. So that has been investigated by the race stewards, and he will be thinking about that run of 22 consecutive point scores and hoping he can keep that going. At the moment, he's a lap down, so Mirko Bortolotti, Mauro Engel finding a gap through on the inside. As things stand at the moment, the only driver to have blinked is Thomas Preining. The other 17 cars remaining out on track for the moment.
Yeah, even before we consider the investigation, there are a good 2 or 3 seconds lost with the fumble on the right front, and that was the difference between him staying on the lead lap and now having to give way to everybody. This, paired with the investigation for the 91 car, has to be seething Thomas Preining as we get a look at Preining going a lap down, Mauro Engel following Bortolotti through in the battle for third place as they put a lap on the Manthey Porsche.
And it's a penalty lap for Thomas Preining. He is going to have to visit the penalty box as a result of that wheel nut in the pit stop. We said this is a team sport. Mirko Bortolotti on the radio to SSR Performance. Not saying too much at the moment. I'm guessing that probably says it all, really. Just stay out and do what you're doing. So the penalty box, you can see it painted on the exit of turn 1. Thomas Preining will have to pass through that box at no more than 50 kilometers an hour on a normal size circuit. It adds about 5 seconds to the lap time. 5 seconds that Thomas Preining can ill afford to give away. At the moment, he's running in 18th and last place. He has done his mandatory pit stop. What he doesn't want now is for the rain to come. So he will be praying like mad that it stays dry, because if he has to come back into the pits again, he really will be in trouble.
I don't think anybody is going to be doing rain dances out there on the circuit, not here at the Norisring, not the place for precipitation, to say the least. But there will be some that thrive and some that merely survive if we do get that rain. When we got that little sneaky look over the shoulder of a mechanic with his weather app open, the weather band was staying south of the circuit.
Now, I thought Thomas Preining was trying to get into the penalty box, but there may have been an Abt Sportsline car in the way that stopped him from getting in. Let's hear what he's got to say about it.
We need to do a penalty lap, penalty lap, penalty lap. Next time by, next time by.
Well, all credit to Thomas. Didn't argue, didn't moan, didn't throw his toys out of his pram, just said copy. He would have had to have done it when he can only cross the start-finish line once, having received that. Now, of course, he may have done it off camera, but that is his father there, Thomas Preining's dad, and well, his body language says it all, really, doesn't it? Thomas's parents, lovely people who have invested so much. Right, now into the penalty box he goes. You can see that's just excruciating. Then back up to speed. He should be able to slot in behind Arjun Maini. In theory, there was Ricardo Feller there as well, but he's managed to get up to speed before Feller could get anywhere near him. But Thomas Preining well out of position. To remind you, he is the only driver, the only car that is running that has done the mandatory stop. The other 17 still to do it. We've got 12.5 minutes of the pit window remaining, so still plenty of time. You do wonder whether some of the teams are holding out in case this rain does come in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you are going to have to make a pit stop for wet tyres, it may as well be your mandatory pit stop. As you said, the pit lane seems to be divided as to what rain we're going to get, if any. It's a matter of debate, and for now, though, everybody just staying out there until the last 3 or 4 minutes. And those that are fighting outside the top 5 will have seen what happened to Thomas Preining. Just the slightest error in the pit stop, of course, got him a penalty, but it also put him a lap down before he even got to the penalty. So they don't really want to put themselves in that situation.
No, and it really is. It's like a game of, well, it's patience. I don't know what game it is. Chess. It's strategy. Just waiting for the moment. I still can't get my head around. We've had wet race on timing screens for about the last 20 minutes, and there hasn't been a drop of rain in the air. Just for record, Max Powell has set the fastest lap of the race. It was back on lap 15, but a 49.632. There's speed in the Lamborghini. There's another one in the shape of Nicky Tim, who peels off from 15th place into the pit lane for his mandatory stop. So SSR clearly under the impression that the rain is not going to come. So they're going to get the tyres changed on the number 94 car. The team getting to work. No mistakes here. You must not spin the wheels either. It has to be the rear wheels first, then the front wheels. A little bit slow getting the right front on, but a pretty good stop all in all. Of course, we do have the fastest pit stop award at the moment. Mercedes-AMG team Winwood lead that by 13 points. Manthey EMA are second with 10 points, and Schubert Motorsport in third with 9 points.
But this is the thing. Nicky Team's come out, and immediately he's going to have to deal with blue flags. It doesn't work when everybody else is staying out on such a short circuit, and now Nicky Team is at least going to have to let the top 2 through over the course of the next few corners. Sheldon van der Linde did sense an opportunity, but now he's got the Lamborghini between himself and Jack Aitken. A critical few tenths lost there by Sheldon van der Linde. Nicky Team still trying to get some heat into those tyres. That's the thing. Anybody really outside of the top 5 has a very high probability of going a lap down if they make their stops right now, with so many drivers and teams keen on staying out to the very last part of the window.
And we've still got just under 10 minutes remaining of that window. Of course, tyre warmers not allowed in the DTM, so Nicky Team having to work really hard to generate the heat into that rubber. Now, being a sad man with very few friends, I do have on my phone a lightning detector. I have to tell you that it has just vibrated to say there are lightning strikes within this area, within a couple miles of the radius of this circuit. There are thunderstorms in the area. There is lightning around. It ain't over yet. We've got 9 minutes and 20 seconds of the pit window still open. We've got 29 minutes and 15 seconds of this race remaining. The rain could come. The drivers all just waiting for as long as possible. Just 2 cars to have blinked so far. Nicky Tim, Thomas Preining, the only 2 cars to have pitted. Another 16 still to come in. Look at that. That is Nuremberg in the distance. Well, part of the main centre of Nuremberg. The rain coming down. Jack Aitken still holds on to the lead. Ahead of Sheldon van der Linde, then a gap back to Mirko Bortolotti.
The problem is, I don't think it's getting closer to us so much as it is drifting past us, and that's kind of what some of the weather radars are saying. I did also get information that there'd be some lightning strikes into the mid-afternoon in this general vicinity. So yes, it does seem as though it is pretty terrible weather expected for this afternoon. The question is it going to affect this DTM race? We've got 28 minutes left to go, but moreover, 8 minutes left of that pit window. I think we're getting to the point now where even if they do change to wet tyres, it may not be their mandatory stop.
Yes, it's just waiting and waiting. Ifs, buts, maybes. There is Franck Pereira with Arjun Maini behind him. Franck in a very solid 7th position. He likes it here around the Norisring, sitting in for Christian Engelhardt. Jack Aitken still leading the way. 36 laps in the board. That's Mirko Bortolotti in 3rd place, looking back at Maro Engel in 4th place. Behind him, René Rast. So René looking fairly strong there as well. Into the pits now, Luca Engsler. So clearly, the Lamborghini team, Liquimoli by GRT crew, deciding now is the time to blink. Of course, the other issue is fairly tight pit lane. If everybody comes in at the same time, you've got a much higher chance of tripping over somebody. Good stop there, nice and clean. Luca Engster set on his way. He'll be a lap down. He'll be trying to generate heat in the tyres of that Lamborghini. He'll like the look of that gap behind Preining, but he might struggle because there's a Mercedes about to fill it as well. Right, Ricardo Feller also into the pits. He was running in 14th place, so he is in for his mandatory stop too.
Let's see then the Swiss driver now in the hands of his Apt Sportline colleagues, also in Swiss colours. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but it's certainly convenient. That's not Thierry Vermeulen, that is the number 7 car being serviced. As someone who's used to timed pit stops, these competitive stops and the borderline acrobatics from the crews, really a sight to witness.
It's great, isn't it? Also great to see Ricardo Feller lighting up the tyres. Here comes Jack Aitken, our race leader, flashing the lights, just making sure Ricardo knows he's there. Don't get in my way, he says. I'm leading this race. I'm holding off a big BMW that is just behind me. Jack Aitken through on the inside of the back marking Ricardo Feller. Sheldon van der Linde through as well. So the first two through, but now Mirko Bortolotti's got both his teammates and Ricardo Feller that he's going to have to get past.
Again, I'm not sure why you'd pit right now if you're outside the top 10. We're seeing it once more. Feller's probably lost, what, 3-4 seconds on that outlap? And that is going to be critical for the second phase of his race. René Rast is right on the back of Maro Engel coming out of turn 4. The short nature of this circuit, though, very good for the race laps Wales and Africa.
19,796 euros for each lap completed in the race laps for Africa. BWT and the ADAC jointly donating money as we see Maro Engel going deep into turn 1. So he drops down the order.
Yes, René Rast got through there. Maro Engel dove to the outside line to try and find some track space. He was trying to cover off René Rast, trying to avoid the rear of Mirko Bortolotti, and the net result was running deep into the corner. Well, we've almost crossed that €20,000 boundary for the Race Laps Wales and Africa campaign. Maro Engel dropping off the podium, or off the top 4 at least, down to 5th place. He will be furious.
BWT and the ADAC are working hard to build drinking water wells in primary rural areas of the Gambia and Tanzania. The place they don't want to see water at the moment is coming out of the sky here in Nuremberg around the streets of the Norisring as Mirko Bortolotti finally comes in, as does Marco Wittmann, because there is just 4.5 minutes remaining with the pit window open. So now drivers starting to come into the pits. Every 2 or 3 seconds, I keep poking my hand out the commentary box door to see if there's any rain coming down. It's gone very dark, but it doesn't look at the moment as though it's going to go wet in the next few minutes. Look at all that brake dust.
Now, if we get a look here at Bortolotti exiting the pit lane, you'll see what I was talking about, because he will stay on the lead lap. There's the leading battle just coming past pit entry, and we've already seen Bortolotti exit pit lane. So that's the thing, if you are in the first pack, you're okay, but Marco Wittmann, for example, again, now having to serve blue flags on the outlap. It matters where you are in that queue right now before you make that pit stop.
I'm thinking that Jack Aitken will want to stay out till the last possible minute in this. He's got clear track in front of him, only back markers to get past as Lucas Stoltz is the next to come into the pits. Also, if he does pit, he releases Sheldon van der Linde to put in hot laps on what will effectively be an open track. So he'll want to hold up Sheldon van der Linde, if that were the case, for as long as possible, so that Sheldon has to pit at the same time as him. Problems on the left front for Lucas Stoltz. The Mercedes-AMG Team HRT crew finally getting the number 4 car rolling, but not a great pit stop for Lucas Stoltz.
Sheldon van der Linde in, Kelvin van der Linde in. Family affair in the pit stops as well as on the pre-grid. Let's see where they come back out into this one. Of course, for Sheldon van der Linde, he's going to be hoping that he comes back out still ahead of Mirko Bortolotti, who's already made that stop from the top 3.
So the question is, will Jack Aitken now pit to cover this one off? The tyre change has been done by the Schubert Motorsport crew. Here comes the Abt Sportsline Audi, being driven by Kelvin van der Linde. Stops exactly on the marks. The crew getting to work, rehearsed so many times. I've walked around the circuit late last night, and they were rehearsing it as it was getting dark. Sheldon van der Linde coming out of the pit lane. The air is starting to feel moist. The darkness is coming. Is it going to rain? Thierry Vermeulen, teammate Jack Aitken also into the pits. Aitken still staying out at the moment. Rene Rast moves up into second place. Amara Engel into third. The leader still out on track at the moment. We've got 7, 8 cars still yet to pit. Now Rene Rast into the pits as well. In the background there's Franck Pereira also coming in for his mandatory stop. Jack Aitken is gonna have to come in within the next couple of laps.
Yeah, he's got at most 3 more laps out there on circuit, 3 more passes of the pit entry. I think it may be 2 more passes, as a matter of fact. Rene Rast again with a plume of brake dust coming off the BMW as they change the tyres. And Franck Pereira on the radio.
Is it heavy rain? Question mark, heavy rain, question mark? Okay, copy, box in this lap, box in this lap.
Critically, Franck Pereira was reporting rain. They asked him, heavy rain. He said no, but that means there is rain that Franck Pereira is seeing out there.
Well, our commentary position is just a little way back from the pit straight. It's not raining on this part at the moment. Yes, it is, because I've just stuck my hand outside. There is water coming out of the sky. It has started to rain here in Nuremberg at the Norisring. Are we going to see a cruel twist of fate for some of these drivers? Jack Aitken will want to stay out as late as possible, but his time is running out. He's going to have to come in. The Emil Frey racing crew are ready. He was waiting for the rain. The rain is now coming down properly. I can feel it outside of our commentary box. Will he take the gamble onto wet tyres, or will they stay on the slicks? This is a tricky call for Emil Frey Racing. Ahead of him is the McLaren of Clemens Schmid coming into the pits as well. Jack Aitken on the team radio.
Box, and you will have to fight on the exit. Box, 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 you will have to fight.
That means they're projecting Sheldon van der Linde right alongside him as they come out onto the circuit. They do have slicks. I think the tyres are right at the back of the garage. They wouldn't have had time to get wet. This is such unfortunate timing, really, for Aitken.
Jack Aitken would have needed this just a couple of minutes longer in the pit window. The rain is coming down. Fairly consistency now, just to the side of the pit straight. The rest of the cars lighting up the tyres. Clemens Schmid rejoins as well. I think it was Arjun Miney coming out. Here's Sheldon van der Linde. Here's Jack Aitken in towards someone. It's Sheldon van der Linde to the inside, who's going to take the lead of this race. But it isn't all over yet. The rain is coming down. Mirko Bortolotti in the background will be in that third place.
Oh, it's not over yet. We've had the undercard. Now it's time for the main event. Slick tyres, GT3 cars, rear-wheel drive, 500-plus brake horsepower, and rain coming down. Wets going on to Max Powell. That was a treaded tyre onto the 71.
When you're running towards the back of the pack, you've got nothing to lose. Powell Motorsport, are they going to come up with something that will be an absolute sensation? You can see the rain now coming down. It's going to be like driving on ice for the last 19 minutes of this race. At the moment, it's Sheldon van der Linde who leads the way, looking to repeat the feat of this time last year when he won in the hot sunshine. But you can see how slippery it is. He's gone deep into turn one. Jack Aitken as well. Mirko Bortolotti through into second place. Sheldon van der Linde is able to gather it all up, but Jack Aitken down into third place. You can see the drivers having to tiptoe around the corner. There's Franck Pereira finding a route on the inside of Aychang Nguyen as well. The drivers now struggling with traction. The rain is coming down just a little bit too late to catch the pit window. Right, let's see who can hold it together for another 18.5 minutes of this.
A TVME to whoever wrote this script. Goodness me, we're on a cliffhanger right now. Will they start to dive into the pit lane? It's looking treacherous. We're at the crossover point. I'd argue we're past the crossover point, as we saw there Ricardo Vella getting past Lucas Stoltz. That was for 11th position.
Right, Max Powell's in 17th place. I'm going to have one eye on that because we know he's on wet weather tyres because we saw them going on. At the moment, Sheldon van der Linde leads. Mirko Bortolotti managed to sneak up the inside of Jack Aitken into turn one in the wet conditions. Marco Wittmann trying to move to the inside of the AM Sports Line Audi of Ricardo Fella. Lucas Stoltz in there as well. The camera's on board with Marco Wittmann. The car's running side by side out towards the Scholar S. Also there is Clement Schmid, Aychen Guin at the front in the green. Grillo E Porsche, Lucas Stoltz just behind. Marco Wittmann to the inside, and that is Ricardo Feller absolutely spanking the wall on the exit of turn 3. The rain continues to come down, and it is pretty heavy. I'm looking outside now. The rain is absolutely teeming down. And there was a massive crack of thunder overhead and a flash of lightning. There was a massive crack as the number 7 car connected with the barrier, continues to go. But this is all to play for. 17 minutes remaining in the pouring rain here at the Norisring.
And Max Powell was slower than anyone on slicks on his first lap. Maybe it was an iota too soon from the 71 outfit. I'm going to keep an eye on those split times, but right now he is lapping slower than the drivers on slicks, partially, I suspect, because they've got heat in their tyres, something that Max Powell will currently be sorely lacking.
Yes, but it will only take a while to get some heat into there. Thomas Bryan is back on the team radio.
And we have P14, next car for position is Feller. He was just in the wall. It's getting slippery out there. We have the hot slicks, we are good. 17 minutes to go.
I like the fact they're telling Thomas Preining it's slippery out there. I think he might know that one already in 14th place. Get about after Ricardo Feller. There is cracks of thunder all around. I can hear them outside our commentary position as Lucas Stoltz sees the Marco Wittmann BMW on the inside of him. On board with Marco Wittmann, you can see that the rain is coming down now. The thunderstorm that we wondered whether it was going to hit or not. We started this race under blue skies and boiling hot temperatures. The temperature's still up, but the wind has built. The rain is coming. It looks drier out on the back straight of the circuit to me than it does out on the pit straight. Arjun Maini now defending from Franck Pereira. Maini in 7th place, so Franck Pereira looking to move up and steal that 7th place away. Of course, Franck Pereira guesting he's not interested in a championship. He just wants the glory. Anybody who survives this race is going to deserve glory because the rain is continuing to come down. Nicky Tim, that would be something reminiscent of Spa last week, I should think. Still holding on in the position of 6th place. The incident that we saw between Marco Wittmann and Lucas Stoltz is under investigation. This is the aforementioned incident. A slightly BMW-shaped dent in the left-hand door of that Mercedes.
Just trying to give the side of the Mercedes a kidney grill-shaped decal on the front door. So then we are definitely seeing the wettest conditions we've seen all race long going into the braking zone at turn 1. Turn 1 is now definitively wet. And look at the lap times. They went from 51s a lap ago to 55s and 56s this time by, and drivers are peeling in for wet. Wittmann, Feller, I think Arjen Maini, Mauro Engel also all coming in. The crossover has happened.
If you're running towards the back of the pack, you've got nothing to lose. So drivers coming in, Marco Wittmann will be looking to take advantage of this. The rain is still coming down. The track is not going to dry out completely in the next 14 minutes. Marco Wittmann's car starting to resemble something like it did last time out at Zandvoort. The front wing hanging off. So clearly the contact with Lucas Stoltz having a dramatic effect. Arjun Maini also with wet weather tyres.
Maybe the Wittmann crew should take the approach of if it's broken, don't fix it, quite literally, because every time it breaks, suddenly he's in a fight and making places. Into the pits comes Mirko Bortolotti from 2nd position. Could this be an error for Van der Linde?
So he's been called into the pits as well. Now, where is Jack Aitken? Has he come in? Yes, he has. So Jack Aitken, he will be so frustrated. He was just a couple of laps away from being able to change onto wet weather tyres. He had to go for the slicks. Now he's back in again. Such frustration, but the weather throwing a complete random element in. The team setting to work once again. A set of wet weather tyres. The thunder continues to rumble around. Jack Aitken rejoins. This has completely mixed the field up. Sheldon Van der Linde still leading the way, but for how much longer? The rest of the cars coming out of the pits. So Sheldon Van der Linde, we believe, still on slick tyres. Thomas Preining rejoining as well. There's Lucas Stoltz. We're going to need to wait for them all to cross the start-finish line again just to see where everybody is. But it's Sheldon Van der Linde, René Rast, Schubert Motorsport 1 and 2, Nicky Tim up into third place. Now Sheldon into the pits, Nicky Tim as well. So, by my reckoning, Rene Rast is still out on slick tyres. He's out on track at the moment, leading the way. How can he hold on to this with 12.5 minutes remaining? Well, if anyone can, Rene Rast can.
I'm just wondering if they think it's only a brief shower as Nicky Team goes up on the jacks at SSR Performance. Maybe they're pushing the boat out and saying, well, Rene, stay out there. Let's see what happens.
Well, I've just put my hand back outside the commentary box door, as I have done about 50 times already, and the rain is stopping. It has become much, much lighter, just odd spits of rain. I wonder whether Schubert Motorsport and indeed Rene Rast have pulled off a coup because the driver that was leading the race but a few minutes ago is now in 11th. Jack Aitken all the way down there. Sheldon van der Linde in 4th place, challenging with Mirko Bortolotti. Sheldon van der Linde on top at the moment. Bortolotti looks to have better traction.
Definitely, yes. Bortolotti looking good out there at the moment. We'll regain our control over who is where in the next few moments. I think Frank Pereira also hasn't come in just yet. Both he and Rast are staying out there. Here comes, though, the battle for first among those on wet tyres. Van der Linde and Bortolotti, and in fact we also have Luca Engstler, who's only pitted once, so he's stayed out on the slicks for now too. Not sure that's going to be the way to go.
Wow, this is all yet to shake out. 11 minutes plus 1 lap remaining of this race. I can confirm that in the area where our commentary position is, it has stopped raining. So maybe, as we see Sheldon van der Linde taking a very wide line into turn 1, we see him going very deep in on that replay and then coming back on the inside. But could it be that those who have taken the gamble and stayed out on the slicks have actually done something pretty spectacular, and maybe the track is going to come back to them? Let's have a look at the lap times, the last lap times for these drivers. The last time round, Rene Rast was a 57. Come back to that in a moment. Team radio.
We box.
Okay.
What is the rate this time?
I think that was a knot on your Nelly.
Left times are 2 seconds faster.
We lost anyway. It's not raining.
Okay, stay out.
Aha. So, exactly what we thought. So that would be a slightly delayed message. Rene Rast saying it's not raining out here anymore. And it could be this is what is going to be a race-winning decision.
It's almost dry in the final sector. It is treacherous as could be in the first sector. The track is split into 2 distinct halves right now. From a moisture perspective, for full disclosure, we're situated maybe a quarter of a mile from the actual main straight of the circuit, and that might be the little bit of difference we have between ourselves and the track, as we see there Luca Engstler losing 3rd position, still on the slicks, we remind you, to Sheldon van der Linde, the leader of the Treaded Tyre Brigade.
He's lost more than 3rd, he's lost 4th as well, because Mirko Bortolotti had a little sneak through as well. But interesting for Schubert Motorsport, very much a split strategy, because they got one of their cars willing for it to dry up, the other one willing for it to chuck it down with rain. The driver that is leading the way wants the dry weather, he wants the rain to go away, but it's coming back down again. You can see it coming down as they head into turn 1. So Rene Rast can see that the rain has now increased, the thunder and the lightning increases around us as well. Our whole commentary position is shaking. Rene Rast is absolutely fighting the car, trying to keep it pointing in the right direction. He's such a skilled pilot, but can he get that BMW around the streets of Nuremberg on slick tyres in the pouring rain?
The order then, Rene Rast leads by 4 seconds over his fellow slickshod driver, Frank Pereira. That's Vermeulen between the two of them. 3rd position is Sheldon van der Linde. He's on the wet. So is Bortolotti in 4th. So is Nicky Team in 5th. Luca Engstler is still on his slicks and he's dropped down to P6. Van der Linde 7th, Engel in 8th, Aitken 9th, and Max Powell, the first of the wet weather converts, down in 10th place. He lost a few seconds before the rain really started coming down, and that's why it hasn't really ended up in his favour, though it was still a net gain again, the brave call from PAL Motorsport. That's your top 10 right now. There is a 20-ish second gap between the two slick-shod cars up ahead and Sheldon van der Linde. This one is going to be close. I think Rast might be quick enough to stay out there and stay in the lead if the weather doesn't change.
So it was a 55.798 last time around for Rene Rast. The first Sheldon van der Linde, 54.841. So Sheldon van der Linde was quicker last time around, but not enough to reel in the leading slick-shod cars with just 7.25 minutes remaining. However, conditions are changing all the time. They say you need to be on the right tyre at the right time. Well, that's exactly what these cars are, but Rene Rast, with that big cushion at the front, as indeed is the case for Frank Pereira, they are going to be wishing away the last 7 minutes of this race.
I imagine the weather radar looks like a slice of Emmental is crossing the circuit, because it seems every time they go to turn one, they've got a different condition. Sometimes it's pouring down again, sometimes it's drying again. It must be very patchy on the radars, as again, Stoltz and Wittmann collide. This time at turn 4, it was the damage given to Wittmann in that collision with Stoltz earlier on, and they found each other once more.
Stoltz and Wittmann, yes, very much joined at the hip. Spare a thought for Jack Aitken, our pole sitter, who led much of this race. Just didn't get it right with Emil Fry Racing down in 9th place at the moment. He's got Mauro Engel ahead of him. A race win now looking fairly unlikely as we look again at Marco Wittmann giving Luca Shoulder, as Chris Hartley would say, a tap on the shoulder. Well, it was more of a tap, wasn't it? It was a budge into him as best you can. Ricardo Feller behind there as well. They are fighting, would you believe, over 12th place. Ricardo Feller saying, have some of that, why don't you? The rear-facing camera of Marco Wittmann survives the experience. Rene Rast, 4.1 seconds clear of Frank Pereira, who's in 2nd place. He, in turn, is 22.5 seconds ahead of Sheldon van der Linde.
And critically, Rast and Pereira last time by were quicker than those on the wet tyres. The pendulum has swung back towards the slicks. That not only benefits Rast and Pereira, who we'll hear from now on the team radio.
Slick are much faster than wet now. Keep going. 6 minutes to go.
The other driver this will benefit, of course, is Luca Engstler. He's in 7th place. He's also on the slicks, and he is right there in the pack with van der Linde, Bortolotti and team.
So it is all about the tyres, it's all about the lap times. The wet and the dry shod cars are pretty similar now on lap times. No, I tell a lie, just slightly faster. Rene Rast marginally faster, and also Frank Pereira. Yeah, we're just looking at a message on our time screen. Team Ab Sportsline, infringement of Article 23.4. I believe that is to do with the number of mechanics working on the car. So there's an investigation going on there. I don't think it would be something that would affect the positions of Kelvin van der Linde or Ricardo Feller. It may just result in a fine for the team. Kelvin van der Linde currently in 6th place, our championship leader. Ricardo Feller down in 14th place. Thomas Breining in the last of the points-paying positions, trying to keep his run of 22 consecutive point-scoring finishes going, trying to make it 23. He's got Ian Chen Gun, his teammate. Well, you'd like to think that Gun would be something of a rear gunner for him. I don't think Ian Chen has that in mind. He wants to get to the points himself.
Well, I must doff my cap to Rast and Pereira in particular. They weathered, quite literally, the storm in that middle phase of the race just after the pit window. It was going against them in a big way for a long time, but not for long enough that they needed to pit onto the wet. They stuck with it, they kept control of their cars, and now they look on course to get their great results. It'll be a first win of the season, of course, from Rene Rast. Frank Pereira on his return to the series as well, of course, getting a 2nd place.
They still got to last another 3.25 minutes plus 1 lap, which isn't very much on a track this size. I can confirm there is no rain coming down. There is Clemens Schmidt peeling off into the pit lane, so that's an unscheduled pit stop for him. You can see the gaps there between René Rast and Sheldon van der Linde. That is first back to third. Sheldon van der Linde now with Mirko Bortolotti putting the pressure on. Bortolotti's teammate Nicky Tim in there as well. So Nicky Tim, the Viking, putting the pressure on to Mirko Bortolotti. We know that those Lamborghinis prepared by SSR Performance have been rapid all week long in the whole of this, all the sessions, with the exception of FP1 where Bortolotti had some mechanical issues. He's now got an issue with his teammate filling his wing mirrors. Both of them want to have a go at Sheldon van der Linde. It still looks like from the camera shot there's a bit of rain coming down on parts of the track. It's not all over yet. The windscreen wipers are still going. 2.25 minutes remaining. René Rast leads Frank Pereira by 2.9 seconds, and they in turn are 29 seconds ahead of this fight that you're looking at now.
And of course, the SSR Performance Lamborghinis need not be too worried about Sheldon van der Linde, because Kelvin van der Linde could take advantage of them if they're not too careful. Here comes Bortolotti to the outside at turn 2 on Sheldon van der Linde. You really can't go too wide through 2 and 3. Great action, dueling at the Norisring.
Saw Sheldon van der Linde drifting the BMW out onto the pavement, back onto the tarmac. Look at Nicky Tim, looking impatient on his teammate. Do not collide with your teammates. Running side by side, Nicky Tim sweeping around. Can he get both of them? No, he can't. Kelvin van der Linde now getting involved. You can see his brother up ahead. You can see 2 SSR Lamborghinis as well. It's a 5-car battle because now Luca Exler joins in and he sails past Kelvin van der Linde. This is fantastic stuff. And the Norisring, still Sheldon van der Linde holds on to that place, or does he? Mirko Bortolotti through on the inside. Nicky Tim on the inside of both of them. 2 SSR Lamborghinis running side by side. This is why we love DTM. The 2 cars absolutely neck and neck. Advantage Nicky Tim briefly, but now Mirko Bortolotti at the front of that little pack. The last of the podium places, but Luca Exler isn't done yet. To the inside of Nicky Tim. Those 2 cars running side by side. Lamborghini versus Lamborghini versus Lamborghini. To the inside goes Luca Exler and sailing past Nicky Tim. Now he challenges Mirko Bortolotti with less than 30 seconds remaining of time racing on this race. What a move from Luca Exler, up into a podium position as he sails past Mirko Bortolotti.
And why is he sailing past? Because he's on the slicks, of course. He was the other one that never swayed from his convictions, as Sheldon van der Linde on that previous lap also fell behind his brother Kelvin. Mirko Bortolotti to you.
So Exler is for position.
I don't know what planet that is, but it's one that is slick shod, that is for sure. So Mirko Bortolotti dropping off the podium positions. The clock has struck 0. Our race leader coming out of the chicane, so it'll be 1 more lap when he crosses the start-finish line next time around. He'll be able to complete this lap, and then it will be the final lap of the race for René Rast, who will be looking to continue his streak of winning in every season of DTM. He jumped up in front, he stayed on the slick tires while everybody else bottled it. Our pole sitter Jack Aitken down in 9th place at the moment. The first of the drivers to go to wet weather tires was Max Paul, he's in 10th. There is Sheldon van der Linde in 7th place. But it is still gonna be René Rast out the front, his teammate on the final lap.
I think that was a little bit of van der Linde on turn 1 exit, so maybe they didn't need to swap cars because they were almost in 1 car at that point. René Rast, though, has been exemplary. The gap between himself and Frank Pereira has been coming down in this traffic, but Rast has been masterful in the mixed conditions.
So into the last part of the last lap. René Rast into Dunsendijk for the final time and around into turn 5. He kept his cool while everybody else were losing theirs. He stayed on the slick tyres. It's paid off. It's a win for René Rast from Pereira in the slick shot 63 car in 2nd place. It's slick tyres 1, 2, 3 because Luca Exler is going to come home for the last of the podium positions. We're still waiting for him to cross the line. Here he comes now. Luca Exler his second trip to the podium this season in car number 19 is about to come. He really was a long way back, wasn't he? Keep it out of the Liqui Moly banners, that would be ironic. On this final lap, here comes Luca Engstler, the last of the podium positions, to receive the checkered flag. It's a second podium for Luca Engstler, a third place. He had to work for that. Then Nicky Tim looking to score his best result of the season so far, ahead of Mirko Bortolotti. Then Kelvin van der Linde mugging Sheldon van der Linde in the closing stages. Then Mauro Engel. Jack Aitken, our pole sitter, in 9th, and Max Powell in 10th. And that was the contact on the very last lap from the perspective of Mirko Bortolotti as he squeezed his way past.
Yeah, this was actually about 4 or 5 laps before the flag. So much going on towards the end here. But critically for Nicky Thiem as well, his first ever top 5 in the DTM. His best result this season, the best result of his career prior to this weekend, was an 8th place. So a good effort from Nicky Thiem, especially given he was outside the top 10 as the race got underway. Well, we're celebrating 40 years of DTM this season and indeed this weekend, and this was a celebration of DTM at its very most chaotic.
And who should emerge out on top? None other than the 3-time DTM champion, René Rast. 21,940 euros raised for Race Wells in Africa. René Rast is responsible for 69 of those laps.
And victory number 99 for BMW in DTM. If their rich form continues, remember they were very fast in free practice yesterday. The car looks strong over a race distance as well. This could be a 100th victory on the cards on Sunday if things go in their favor again.
And Luca Engstler patting the roof of his Lamborghini. There is Frank Pereira. You can see why Gottfried Grasser was celebrating in the garage, can't you? His cars are finishing 2nd and 3rd. Sheer driving skill getting the 1, 2, 3 home when everybody else was slip-sliding around and into the pits as we look across the Duitsendijk Lake and reflect on René Rast winning here in race 1 at the Norisring ahead of Frank Pereira, Luca Engstler. That's your 1, 2, 3. Then Nicky Thiem, Mirko Bortolotti, Kelvin and Sheldon. That'll be some interesting discussions over the dinner table. Mauro Engel, a pole sitter, Jack Aitken all the way back in 9th. Max Powell rounding out the top 10 ahead of Lucas Stoltz. The local man, Marco Wittmann, Ricardo Feller. Thomas Breining continues his run of point scores ahead of Archon Miney. Ian Schengen, Thierry Vermeulen, and Clemens Schmid, the last of the runners. Right, let's head down to Verena, who is enjoying the atmosphere down in the pit lane.
Enjoying the atmosphere here. We've got Frank Pereira, who jumped in for Christian Engelhardt, and he managed to secure a 2nd place coming from P4. All the mechanics congratulating him. Can't believe that he made it, but he did it. You did it coming from P4 to P2 on slick. So how excited and how happy are you? You made it in safe and on 2nd place.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, the start was quite tricky. I was side by side with Mirko, and he went on me with some contact, so unfortunately I tried to avoid because I didn't want, he's fighting for championship. And then I lost some position and I tried to stay with the group, but it was not easy, and we take the risk to stay on slicks, and it's a shame because it was close for the win.
But you did a great job. Thank you so much. Enjoy the podium. Back to you. Woo!
That is quite a celebration going on down there. Phenomenal stuff. We were just commenting, what a race, what a way to celebrate 40 years of DTM. The crowd on the concrete steps were entertained. Kelvin van der Linde, well, he's only lost a point on his championship lead as a result of that, but look at René Rast, just 10 points behind, up into 3rd place. Sheldon van der Linde. Jack Aitken, not too bad for him. He's into that 4th place. Of course, if our little tickers can take it, we get to do it all again tomorrow. I did take a little look at the weather forecast, and there are changeable conditions tomorrow as well. Jack Aitken will be having a word with the weather gods and saying, if you could have brought it in a few minutes earlier, that would have been very nice. Thank you very much.
Coming into this race, René Rast was 9th in the championship. At the end of the race, he's third in the championship. That's how close these standings are currently in the DTM. Every weekend brings a new drama. Sebastien Ogier congratulating René Rast on his accomplishment in that race. And of course, this also means 6 winners from 7 races. The statistic remains Aitken, the only double winner so far this year.
And of course, as you already mentioned, win number 99 for BMW, win number 27 in the DTM for René Rast. 27 wins out of 113 races. That's a pretty good conversion rate in the world of DTM, I would say. He had to work hard for that one, René Rast did, the popular pilot for Schubert Motorsport. Every year he wins at least one race. 3 of the years he's won a championship. Hats off to Luca Engstler, the driver who's still getting used to driving a Lamborghini. He's been Audi for a long, long time. He's come here and he's stuck it out on slick tyres as the Van der Lindes have a bit of a conversation. Can't hear what they're saying. It's looking a little bit animated. Kelvin van der Linde, who last week received a German citizenship, the South African, who is now a citizen of Germany as well. There is Luca Engstler. You just feel very happy for him in 3rd place. He deserves it. Such a hard-working driver. Frank Pereira subbing for Christian Engelhardt. Christian will be looking on going, I could have had some of that. But that man, you can't keep a good man down. They don't come a lot better than René Rast to the top step of the podium, taking a win. And of course, Schubert Motorsport get to put a representative on the podium as well. It is a win that they will remember for a very long time. We saw Torsten Schubert looking on his drivers in 1st, 7th and 11th, and of course a 2nd consecutive win for Schubert Motorsport. Joachim Herrmann, the Bavarian minister, presenting the trophy. I need a wheelbarrow to get the one back to the pits, I should think. That's a proper trophy, that is. That's one to remember. That'll take pride of place. He had to work for that. Franz Conrad looking on, a legend in German motorsport. Linus Strasser, slalom winner, and the Kitzbühel, I did the Kitzbühel once, not as quickly as he did, presenting the 2nd place trophy of Frank. Don't drop it, chap. Frank Pereira just keeping hold of that 2nd place trophy. And Dr. Gerd Enster, the ADAC Sports President, a wonderful man, does a phenomenal job presenting a trophy to another phenomenal man, Luca Engstler, and the smile says it all. What a memorable race to stand on the podium at the Norisring. Every driver dreams of doing that, to stand on the top step. Well, René Rast has done it before. He's now done it again, and there is the team trophy being raised high as well. I haven't even thought about the team championship yet. Coming into this event, Abt Sportsline were leading the way, 9 points ahead of Schubert Motorsport. I would wager by my complex calculations that Schubert Motorsport might just have moved to the top of the points. It's all subject to confirmation. So drivers are posing for photographs, and the best bit is, Adam, we get 1213. That's a great number. The best bit is, there's a pin number there somewhere. We get to do it all again tomorrow. The champagne torpedoes break out. The Schumacher champagne being sprayed around here at the Norisring. It was a race that had everything. It was the weather that caused the dice to be rolled.
and everyone rolled them slightly differently. It'll be a big one in the Teams Championship, of course, for GRT, with Pereira and Engsler both on the podium. That was one of the most epic motor races I've ever seen. I understand the weather's been such that the signal was a bit patchy for us during this broadcast, but my word, one of the greatest races we've seen here at the Norisring.
Heading back to Verena, who's down in the pits again.
And here he is, the very happy man, René Rast, coming from P7, and he secured victory. Now you're also third in the championship. So hello, it's looking good, René.
Yeah, but the championship can turn over any day, but obviously his victory was a great day. I mean, we knew that there might be rain coming, and I told the team before the start, just let me drive as long as we can and see if the rain is lasting, and the team took the right decision, and yeah, I was staying out, and in the end this was actually securing me the victory.
And quite frankly, how much were you hoping to really make it to the end, because you didn't know what was going to happen on slicks?
Yeah, there was more rain coming. Every lap there was different conditions. It was quite tricky, especially turn one was raining heavily at one point, and I was just praying that it's not raining more. But in the end, it was just about managing the conditions. Every lap they were changing, so it was not easy. But in the end, obviously very happy.
We saw you slipping around. I mean, it was really tough to control the car in the end.
Yeah, especially. I mean, on the braking, sometimes you don't know how much water there is, and you brake, and the car just keeps going without stopping. The same on power, so it was very tricky.
You did a phenomenal job, René. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. And now back to you.
Yeah, René Rast, the skill of that driver as we reflect on his celebrations. He said the team made the decision to keep me out there. I think he had quite a big influence in that as well. It takes phenomenal skill to keep the car pointing in the right direction around the slippery streets of Nuremberg with the rain coming down. It's chugging it down with rain again here now, so they definitely got the race finished just in time, because René Rast would not have wanted any more of that. The big crowd here at the Norisring having been hugely entertained. One of the main ways onto the steps in the centre, crossing the track, everybody getting to sample some of this hallowed ground.
You'll notice how many of them are in shorts. It was a very different set of weather this morning.
As we look at third place, Luca Engsler for Liquimoli by GRT in the Lamborghini Huracan, who came home in third place. The sparks were coming off the front wing at the front splitter at the start of the race, not so much towards the end when the track was soaking wet. He kept it all together. Then in second place, Frank Pereira, also for GRT, Grasser in the number 63 car. But the headline goes to the three-times champion, René Rast, for Schubert Motorsport, winner here in race 7 of the season of the DTM. Back down to Verena.
And I'm now here with Luca Engsler, and Luca is the man of the moment, if you ask me, because he came all the way from P15 to third place, and it's your second podium. You won in Oschersleben, and now this was the race of your life, wasn't it?
Yeah, it felt so good. To be honest, the first half was boring. I was so slow. I don't know what happened. We need to analyze. I had a contact in the beginning, and then my brake temps went so high. So I stayed out, and honestly, I don't know why, because normally you then say, okay, I boxed, I saved the tire, but something kept me like going, and then I saw the rain coming, and then I knew, okay, today is the day to go, and it was, yeah, amazing.
And it was just full attack. I mean, it was pretty crazy in the end. So how much were you hoping? I mean, staying out there, it was all slippery, the weather was getting worse. What was going on in your head?
To be honest, I was quite relaxed. Like, Oschersleben was a lot more stress for me. Now it was like, either I shunt or I go on the podium. So it was like, I don't care, you know. But yeah, luckily finished here now.
Absolutely. We're excited to see you here on the podium. And what was it like here? I mean, Norisring is the only city circuit in the calendar. What is it like for you being here at Norisring?
Always cool, always special. I mean, sounds loud like I was here for 100 years. Now it's my second time here, so still a lot to learn, but very happy.
And now looking forward to tomorrow. It's going to be tough to get another podium, but what are your expectations? What are you hoping for?
Well, I think we have a good car. Frank showed the pace and quality today, and I wasn't, so I hope that I'll have a good night, I'll have a good analyst, and then tomorrow I'll be there.
All right, can't wait to see you. Thank you so much, Luca. And I hope you guys enjoyed it here at the Norisring, the very first race, and now we're looking forward to tomorrow. So see you then, and enjoy the highlights of the Norisring of race 1. Bye-bye.
stand on the right rear.
Split every fucking corner.
Maximum.